Okay, so this video is going to basically be based on a tweet Blizzard put out asking what they could do to bring players back, and I think that there are a couple of things that I would do that bring players back. And there are, I've already talked about some of these with Venga Dragon on our podcast. If you haven't checked that out, we're on pretty much everything, but I'll put a link to in the description to our YouTube at least, and you can look us up on like any other place if you want, but not important. Anyway, we talked about it a little bit, and there are some topics I didn't go into as much depth on as I wanted to, and there were some topics that weren't even discussed that I feel like should be discussed, and yeah, I would like to bring that in. So let's just start with the very first one, which I'm putting at the bottom of this list, mostly because of the fact that they already said that they're going to work on it, and that's a new game mode. Phase 2 said that they were going to have a new game mode. And obviously, we're still in phase 2, and it'll happen eventually. And I think it'll probably be announced by the end of October, because they want to release it somewhere in the middle of the expansion, right? When it's dipping down. So right now we're in like a little bit of a lull, you know, after like a little bit of nerfs, there was a bump, and now it's back into a lull. But a new game mode would bump it up here, and then by the time it gets down here again, new expansion comes out, bumps up the interest, and so on and so forth. So I feel like they want to space it out properly, and that's why they didn't release everything at once. And yeah, I think that a new game mode would be absolutely phenomenal. I think that Battlegrounds did wonders for Hearthstone. It brought a lot of people back into the game. It was such a good game mode, it became people's like main game mode in a lot of cases. And I think that it deserves some recognition for how good it actually was. I don't personally like it that much. I'd rather play TFT, but for people who want to play more casually or still want to play like in Hearthstone and don't want to get League or don't like League for whatever reason, it is a great game. I genuinely think it's pretty cool. So some ideas I had for new game modes, and these are just like spitball ideas that I'm not entirely sure will happen, but they might, you know, is a 2v2 game mode where you have 40 health instead of 30, and you have two people playing two different classes that complement each other, say like a hunter and a warlock. So basically you draw a ton of cards and take damage. Do damage to yourself in order to be as aggressive as you can possibly be. And I think that would be a pretty interesting game mode. Another one would be some sort of solo boss where everybody in the community, everybody in the server would get together and fight like a 100 million health boss. And depending on how much damage you do, people will get rewards. Or maybe bring back Brawliseum and make it permanent, although that will take away the hype of the Brawliseum. So I personally don't want that. I think that Brawliseum is good in like smaller doses, kind of like Earth. Because like a while back they had Earth in League of Legends as like a permanent game mode for like more than a month. It was crazy. And after the first week, I lost interest in it. And now after they took that down and it becomes more sporadic, I've been playing more Earth again. So that's just an idea. I don't think Brawliseum should be the way, but it's an idea being thrown out there. And there are a couple of other game modes that they can do. But the point is, a new game mode would bring back a lot of players. Both old players, they would return. New players would have a new thing to try out. And hopefully there's not too much of a paywall to it. I think Battlegrounds did really well. You can pay a little bit and get the perks. But other than that, it's pretty much entirely free to play, which is super cool, actually. So I think that they designed Battlegrounds extremely well. From like a monetary standpoint and just a game standpoint. I think it's cool. That's just the first idea. It's a small thing. Now we're going to get into the main three. These three are big ones, and I hope that if you made it this far, you listened to all of them. Because the first one is, you guessed it, randomly discovered cards. Both discovered and just randomly generated. I feel like in a small dose, these things are good. I feel like back in the day, when Discover was new, when Mad Bomber was like some of the most RNG that you'd have, it was good. It was good. Back then, there was still some RNG, and to be fair, because of the fact that Hearthstone is a completely virtual computerized card game, they can make use of randomly generated effects better than almost any other game or any other card game that exists. So from that regard, I think that RNG definitely has a place in Hearthstone. Also, it's been kind of what Hearthstone is known for, some ridiculous plays, some RNG, and I think that Hearthstone should try to keep that identity. I think that it's a good identity to have. But I also think that they low-key went overboard with the amount of stuff that you can generate. You have roughly 3 different classes: Mage, Priest, and even Rogue now, where their entire win condition is basically randomly generated cards, whether it be lackeys, whether it be spells, or whether it be stealing cards from your opponent, or also spells, I guess, in the case of Priest, because it does both. Overall, I think that there's too much RNG in the game. But I do think that a little bit is good. I like one of my favorite cards in the expansion is Volpera Scoundrel, because it's not too strong, right? The stats are not the worst they could be, but they're not good either. But in order to make up for that, you get a discovered card. And I feel like having a couple of cards that are neutral that can discover you some things throughout the game, like Jeweled Scarab back in the day, or the 3-mana 2/2 that discovers you a 4-drop right now. I don't know what that's called. Those kind of discover cards could be really good and interesting. I would actually enjoy playing with those cards because there's a bit of sacrifice to it. You have to sacrifice some tempo in order to generate some resources, as opposed to studies, which you can play on turn 1 without any punish, and then it allows you to gain tempo later on. So not only do you get a card, which is very flexible, but you can gain tempo. Imagine using the nature studies and then being able to overgrowth turn 3, or playing the rush one in Warrior, being able to play a big rush minion or get an extra Karagath out, a 4/4 rush for 3 mana. Like that. Or spell damage one with mage, and you're able to just boom, spell damage card, draw 2, or spell damage card, immediate arcane missiles to do an extra damage. Like, you don't lose tempo with RNG anymore. It now not only is a thing that generates your resources, it just gains you tempo. And I feel like either A, reduce the amount of RNG in the game, or B, make it weaker. Like, who's not going to run a 1-mana heal 3, which is pretty solid, that also just generates you another card? It's just super strong. So I would like to see a reduction in RNG, or making the cards that are currently, or making new cards that are RNG, if they don't want to reduce the number, make them weaker. Like, just lower the overall power level of some of these cards. The next one is a bit unique, and I don't feel like a lot of people are talking about it, but the esports scene. I think that not a lot of people care about Grandmasters. I really, really don't. Like, if I look up Grandmasters right now, Hearthstone Grandmasters, I didn't test this out beforehand. I swear to God, I could be proven wrong by all this. But Grandmasters, let's just say 2020. We have a game that was posted a day ago with 7.5 thousand views. One that has 2,000. One that was posted 27 months ago, and it was the finals, and it got 27,000 views. And its like to dislike ratio was 88%, which isn't bad, but it's not like actually that good either. And almost none of these videos, unless okay, fine, there is one with RDU and ties that broke 10,000. But unless they're the finals, almost none of these videos are breaking the 10,000s, and I feel like that's a problem. Because if you look at a lot of the successful games, or at least like League of Legends right now, even CSGO to some extent, which is mostly surviving because of its competitive scene, their competitive scene is extremely good. They build up hype, it's a seasonal thing, and there are events in-game that you can do that generate hype for the actual games itself, whether it be rewards, like League Pick'ems and whatnot, and Hearthstone tries to do some of the same things. It's just not hyped up as much, and unless you go looking for it, you're not going to find it. And I feel like a great way to increase the engagement of the people in the community is creating a more vibrant competitive scene, whether it be building more hype in game, giving rewards, having how when you load into the game, when it shows you the daily quests, or sometimes when there's an event starting, something will pop up. Have something pop up and have there be a little animation to tell you that Grandmasters is going on or is about to go on. Have there be an extra quest that you can do if you so it reminds people, pick somebody on our Blizzard site because it's linked to your account, and you'll get a free pack or something just by signing up. Not to mention the fact that it in general should be more hype. Just in general, I feel like when I watch it, it's so professional and controlled, and that's cool. But it also doesn't have the right atmosphere you'd want for an esport to build up a new community of players, or even bring back old ones who are definitely getting tired of the game. Like, I play this game 4 to 5 hours a day for streaming, and I understand where people would come from if they're getting somewhat tired with the game. But if the competitive scene was more hype, and I watched it more because I had more fun watching it, like, that's how I keep up to date with League of Legends. I don't play League of Legends that much anymore, although I do sometimes. But Worlds and even, like, the LCS, I'd watch that, even though the LCS is disappointing. And as an NA fan, Worlds was an absolute flop. God, I can't believe TSM went 0-6, but that's not important. Point is, I'm involved in League of Legends because of how vibrant and, like, interactive the competitive scene is. And I feel like right now, Hearthstone is kind of just in this state of being somewhat complacent with their competitive scene. They're just like, this thing works. We'll just keep doing this, rinse and repeat over and over and over again. And trust me, as someone who does that on his YouTube channel, you see the viewership start to drop over time. And you need to do something to keep people interested. And I think that a good esports scene would be really good for the game as a whole. Like, I know friends that don't even really play League of Legends anymore, but will follow teams or will follow individual players because they like their personality or they like the scene as a whole. And I feel like it'll be a great way to just, like, get people to rally behind players and Hearthstone as a game, as opposed to just, like, playing the game itself. It'll give it more depth. Speaking of esports, and this is not, it's like kind of its own point, but not really. It's just going to be a quick little thing. Do more Twitch Rivals stuff, man. You had, like, that Twitch tournament for Battlegrounds and a couple of them. Do something like that for Twitch personalities in, like, the actual game. Have there be, like, okay, we're going to do a Pauper thing. For those of you who don't know, Pauper in Magic is basically just, like, an all-common deck. Basically say, okay, going to have a Twitch Rivals Pauper tournament. All you can have is commons, and maybe you can splash in, like, 1 or 2 rares to give yourself maybe some win conditions, and you guys can do a tournament, or like a tournament, but chat will choose what cards you pick, or something like that, or they'll vote, or some sort of like arena, like enclosed event where chat will choose the cards that you choose in arena, and then you'll play it out based on the deck that they make for you, and it's just gonna be a fun time that will build up hype, right? Because like I said, the only game on the on this, if we just look real quick, the only games that broke 10,000 were decks that were either finals or, because see, like 3,000, 27,000 finals, 12,000, but that had ties in it. The only games that are breaking the 10,000 mark are finals or games with notable members of the community in those games. And I feel like that would, and then we have like Kibler here, obviously, popping off when you look up Grandmasters, I guess. Building hype. That's all they need to do, I feel like. This whole esports thing is just building hype, whether it be in the competitive scene or partnering with people who play the games in order to build cool, unique content, whether it be testing out things or like doing some sort of like Twitch Rivals, like mini tournaments or whatever. I feel like it could be really, really good for the game as a whole. And then the last thing, and this is the big one, is just the barrier to entry and just making it a little more free to play. Obviously, Blizzard needs to make its money, and they have done really well. In fact, I'm doing a series right now where I'm going from Legend to, or going from Bronze 10 to Legend on a fresh account, where literally, like, I literally started from square zero. Like, just to give you a point of reference, I should probably turn off the sound here. I'm clicking start. I am starting from scratch. You can't actually see it. Let me show you real quick. I'm starting from scratch. This is the start of the video. Click to start. I've started an entirely new account to try to get to Legend and prove that you can do it on a budget. And honestly, I know that it can be done, but it still feels limiting. Although I can climb, I can't build multiple decks. I can only build 1 or 2 unless I want to grind arena hours and hours on end. And there needs to be a better way to get cards. And I feel like they can make money by changing the monetization model, by making more cosmetic things, making there be a diamond legendary level of cards. Like right now there's golden, but like let's just say instead of having it be a golden outline border, it's like a shimmery blue like diamond one that has like a even more unique animation, because you know like the golden cards, their little box has it's kind of wavy or a little bit of an animation going. Have it be a more intricate animation or a completely new art or a new animation that comes into the board. Because I can tell you right now, and just looking at some of the cards, I would definitely buy a diamond version of Dino Tamer Brain. 100%. I absolutely love Hunter. If we're talking about Soul Demon Hunter, I might even do one for Soul Seologist or Kane Sun Fury. And it doesn't even have to just be legendaries either. I might do it for Glavebound Adept because it's going to be in the game for a really long time. Or just like looking at other classes, I might want to do one for like Evil Miscreant, although it's leaving the game soon. Maybe Rattlegore, just because he's a cool like meme card. But you get what I'm saying, right? Like, I'd spend some money on this. And Hearthstone tries to go after whales, and I mean, it's tax deductible because it's for the game and it'll be for content. So like, I've got a little bit of a cheat code going there, but it would still be really interesting to do. And I feel like people would eat it up. They'd have like their favorite card or two, and they'd be like, I'll make this a diamond thing. And you can have it be like 50% off for the first week. So that way Blizzard can make their money. More people will buy it that probably wouldn't have otherwise. And people will have these really cool cards that they can put in their decks that have like a really unique animation or texture to them. That's just an idea, because that's basically what Legends of Runeterra does. And although it's not as good of a game in my opinion as Hearthstone, they do have a great monetization model that relies on cosmetics, whether it be cards, animations, or even game boards, which I think could be cool as well. Transfer Student makes the the board cosmetic thing a little bit more complicated, but you can change the texture of the bottom. Like if you look at games, like I'll just load one up real quick, no sound, giving you a little bit of a sneak peek of a future video, I guess, on accidentally. But like, see, it's just this really pale, like yellowy sand thing. What if you made it like watery, and every now and then like a fish would jump, and there'd be like a cool little animation that way? Or what if it was like you're a hunter player, so the bottom is covered in like leaves and stuff, and like every now and then like a little squirrel will run across, and it'll just be like some cool little unique animations. I'm a hunter player. I would buy both Bran and the Forest Ground cosmetics. Obviously, I am in a unique situation because I'm a content creator, but I feel like enough people would do it to at least make some packs a little bit cheaper. Or alternatively, have a couple more big usable bundles, right? Like, the beginner bundle where 10 packs for $5 and a legendary is solid, right? I'd like to see more bundles like that. Like the expansion bundles, have there be one more third cheaper option. Like, have there be the 80, the 50, and the 30. Because not only that, Blizzard will also make more money off of that. Because statistically speaking, if you give people a third smaller option, people are more likely to consider buying things in general because there's a cheaper option. And then they'll buy the second cheapest option, so they don't even buy the cheapest option. This is just something that I've been learning in economics. And that's just how it works. Like, if you have a $1 thing, a $2 thing, and a $3 thing, you're like, oh, the $1 thing, that's not really worth my money. It's not really going to be that good, but they have it as an option, which is cool. I'll bump it up to $2. I'll treat myself. I'll bump it up to the $2, whatever it is, the $2 side. And boom, just like that, the company makes more money, but the people feel happier because they feel like they're getting a better deal. And literally everybody wins, except the pockets of the people. But also, if you want to buy a cheaper option, you can do that as well. Like, there are so many things that Blizzard can do to make it more free to play, and that's just two of the main options. Not to mention potentially more quests, potentially weekly quests that will give you, like, at the end of the week, like 300 gold, assuming you complete that, and maybe it's like win 15 games with Hunter or something. Boom, at the end of the week, if you do that, you get 300 extra gold. The Battle Pass could be a good idea if they execute it well and maybe increase the rewards slightly. And I feel like there's a lot of, the groundwork has been laid for some pretty cool things to happen, right? And I would like to see Blizzard take some of these ideas and run with them. I hope it's not just like a publicity thing where it's like, oh, see, we're Blizzard, we care about what the people think, when really they're just going to ignore them. I hope that they actually take some of these things into account. And hopefully the game can thrive because of it. But that's just my ideas. Those are just things that I personally would like to see. I know that other people would like to see less RNG, would like to see more free-to-play. The esports scene was definitely more unique, and people really do want that new game mode, so I feel like it's some interesting stuff to talk about. And if you guys have any things that you would like to discuss or think would make the game better, or you would like to see Blizzard do, or stop doing if there's something that they're doing that's bad, tell me in the comments below. I'd be happy to start a discussion, and maybe have another video where I talk over some of your key points and give my thoughts on those as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you do, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Comment your questions, concerns, comments in the comments. I said comments 3 times in that sentence. I apologize. And also, if you have anything that you think would make the game better, don't be afraid to put that down there as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.